Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up guys, Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and in this video we have another new update about Disney Plus's upcoming Star Wars The Acolyte. Of course, we're going to go ahead and hop right on into it, break it all down for you guys, everything that we know, everything that we're hearing, and everything that we're anticipating right now. Before we do though, however, grab that subscribe button if you haven't already, as we're discussing and covering all types of Star Wars related news, leaks, rumors, theories, and breakdowns here on the channel. So, if you guys are into any of that, go ahead and grab that subscribe button today. Okay, so in this video we are going to be taking a quick read from one of my favorites out there, StarWarsNewsNet.com. I'll have their article linked in the description down below for you guys to check out there as well as an over-garnering source. The cast and crew of The Acolyte are putting a lot of importance into their lightsaber fight sequences that we're going to be seeing throughout the upcoming Star Wars The Acolyte, hitting Disney Plus in June with a 2-episode premiere, it seems. Daphne Keane has gone on record saying that they wanted to film a lightsaber duel that was very much so actually superior to the Duel of the Fates fight sequence between Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul in The Phantom Menace, and that they're trying to take that and top many of those different fight scenes and lightsaber fight scenes, more specifically throughout the prequel trilogy as a whole, really, targeting and mentioning and referencing to The Phantom Menace though, however, in that specific lightsaber fight between Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul. So, recently speaking to Entertainment Weekly, Daphne Keane had stated that her belief that it was the most iconic lightsaber fight in the saga is through the prequel trilogy is littered with stunningly choreographed fight sequences. The climatic fight in Revenge of the Sith would also probably be quite up there on top of there as well. Also, Attack of the Clones between Count Dooku and Yoda. However, the star, Daphne Keane, mentions all of this in quote, "Yeah, that was a very frequent conversation that we had. It was very much, we want to top the Darth Maul fight, the most iconic fight, I think, in the Star Wars cinematic universe. It's such an amazing fight, and we were all so excited about the saber fights. There's such a skill and a craft to it that it feels so OG Star Wars, and feels so impressive when you see it as a viewer. It was my favorite part of filming. I loved the whole training process of it as well. Everyone was very excited about it, which then made it much more fun even. Our incredible stunt team created this kind of fusion of different martial arts, and we were really trained to how to use the sabers. I feel very confident with a sword now, and I know that Charlie does too, and I know that JJ does too as well. We were all in there for hours a day training, and it was really fun to kind of explore also a different side to the characters within the fighting itself as well." Ending that quote right there. A lot to say right there, and a lot to unfold, I think, let alone with all of that there as well. Just discussing of how fun it is to be able to work on a Star Wars project, I think, for one, a no-brainer from the get-go, and also being able to train with lightsabers, working on the lightsaber choreography, and kind of, really praising it of how it is more or less on par with what we see throughout the Phantom Menace, or much rather throughout the prequel trilogy, more specifically in the Phantom Menace with the most iconic Duel of the Fates fight scene as we all know and love, or the Darth Maul fight as she calls it. And even then, towards the end of, that big long quote there, she even goes on to mention of how this kind of fighting style is something that's implemented into the characters themselves. And it is very much so a no-brainer, I think, even at that. Like, that's something that Star Wars has always kind of represented. Like, you'll see that kind of fighting style in Obi-Wan that Qui-Gon had, or that kind of fighting style that Anakin now takes on with a saber when he's using a saber based off of how Obi-Wan has used a lightsaber before, so on and so forth, and it can be applied to so many other masters and apprentices out there in a galaxy far, far away. An interesting point that Daphne Keane made was that the lightsaber duels seem to be based on the character. The way each person fights feels unique to their personality specifically and especially, which should hopefully create some more memorable fight scenes throughout The Acolyte as well, saying that there, in quote from Daphne Keane, "You can show a different aspect of your character. I feel like the way that JJ's character fights and the way that my character fights are completely different, and also with the way that Charlie characters fights. I found a lot of Jackie Lant, her character, represents parts of her within her fighting. They only came out in the fight scenes, and as someone who really enjoys doing stunts, getting to learn a new skill, it was just really fun, and such a privilege at that." Ending that quote right there. into this other idea of that, like, there's more personality to these fight scenes. Oddly enough, I know it sounds honestly kind of odd to the way that she's phrasing it, but it does make sense, as I had mentioned there, seeing those kind of fighting styles and those kind of, fighting personalities essentially coming out only in those fight scenes. Like, oh, that's something that maybe her master had done before. Very much so similar to what I had mentioned there into comparing Obi-Wan or Anakin and Ahsoka, so forth and so on, essentially. The young actress also goes on to reveal that she had a similar problem to young Ewan McGregor when he had first filmed The Phantom Menace, and that she had found herself accidentally making the lightsaber sounds with her mouth while filming, funny enough, and I find that honestly so hysterical that even, that's something that continues as a trend for the Star Wars actors out there, is so, honestly, just so funny. She says that there, in quote, "I got told off a lot for doing that quite a lot, because the first few times you do it and they'd be like, you need to stop doing that. And also, I kept smiling. I was just so excited, and they kept having to come up to me and be like, Daphne, you need to stop smiling. You're fighting someone. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm sorry. This is just so much fun. I love this. I remember watching Star Wars when I was a kid, she says, then playing with sticks on the streets and being like, I have a saber. And now I finally am getting to learn these incredible choreographies, and that stunt team put together just was honestly such a privilege, because we had such an amazing stunt team." Ending that quote right there, revealing some of those hysterical and funny, memorable moments of filming this actual project. I find it so funny that, she finds herself making the lightsaber sounds very similar to with what Ewan and Hayden both did throughout the prequel trilogy, smiling on set when you're supposed to be fighting someone, because you're just that dang excited to be there, I think is all the more for this overall upcoming The Acolyte project for Disney Plus. Like, if the actors are there and like they're really into this, and it seems that Daphne Keane is really much so into this, having, grown up with Star Wars, having mentioned that she used to pick up sticks on the side of the street and pretend to swish it around like a lightsaber, as we probably all did throughout our youth and throughout our childhood, and maybe we still do that. I don't know. I won't reveal it. Overall, it seems that one thing seems to be promised, is incredible lightsaber fights throughout The Acolyte. It's quite another thing to pull it off, though, however. Here's to hoping that The Acolyte delivers on those promises when it releases with its 2-episode premiere on June 4th, only on Disney+. This all being said, overall, in conclusion, the lightsaber fight sequences are supposed to be on par with what the prequel trilogy had first offered once ago, and that, some of the actors are even trying to top that quote-unquote Darth Maul fight scene, or the duel of the fight scene throughout the Phantom Menace that we see between Obi-Wan, Qui-Gon, and Darth Maul. Of course, I'm over-the-top optimistic about how that all turns out, and I cannot wait to see it, guys. This all being said, let me know all of your thoughts and opinions in the comments down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.